If you've ever done any kind of goal setting, you're probably very familiar with the term SMART, right? The SMART acronym for setting goals. There's a reason it's used commonly, and it's because it works. So I'm going to take you through an example of setting a SMART goal today so you can see how to apply this with your own goals in your lives. So let's start with the example of somebody who wants to make more money, right? You can say, I want to make more money, I want to increase my income, but we need to be specific. So let's say you have an income of $100,000 per year. Your goal, a specific goal, might be to increase that to $124,000 a year. Now the 24, you can probably already figure out why I went with that amount for the increase. It's going to be very easy for us to measure. So let's say your goal is you make $100,000 a year and you want to increase that to $124,000 a year. So that is your specific number that you would like to make. The next step is M, which is measurable. Now the reason I went with that easy number, there's no complicated math here. We can figure out quite easily how we can increase or how to measure that increase. So if you want to make $24,000 more per year, you're looking at an increase of $2,000 more per month. So that would come out to the 2 times 12, the $24,000 increase that we're trying to reach. Now to measure that, you definitely want to measure that monthly, right? So monthly, looking back, how did I do? Did I make that goal of an average $2,000 per month? Now you could also do it weekly. That might be a little complicated if your income goal is based on you as a consultant or a contractor or something where you're self-employed. In that case, you know your days of paid vacation and paid sick time are over, right? So if you go out of town for a week or if you had something going on in your family, that's 1 week where you're not making income. So if you're sitting down at the end of that week and you're saying, oh, I didn't meet that income goal this week, you just might be stressing yourself out unnecessarily, and it might actually work better for you to do a monthly goal. So each month, check in on average, are you increasing your income by that amount? So we have S, specific, 100 to 124,000. M, can we measure that? We can if we are increasing around $2,000 per month. A is achievable. Is this something you can reasonably achieve? Now the numbers we're working with today, the 100 to 124,000, for many people that is an achievable goal. That's something you can probably do over a year's time. Now if you're in a situation where you're making $100,000 a year and you say, you know what, in a year I want to be making $1 million. I'm not saying that can't happen. You might have a great idea for a product, a service, a new business that you really genuinely can get up to $1 million in a year. So that's not at all something I'd want to discourage you from. However, with such a big increase in income, you might want to break that down over 5 years. So if I want to be making $1 million in 5 years, in 4 years I should be making $800,000. In 3 years, $600,000. So you see, you're still looking at that very big goal of making $1 million in a year, but you want to stretch that out to the 5 years, 10 years, whatever, something that you can reasonably achieve. You still want to challenge yourself. It's important to set goals that challenge you. You don't want something that's just too easy for you to do. So make sure that it's something that you can achieve. So bumping your income out by 100 to 124 over a year as you're working independently, getting some new clients, maybe increasing prices, offering new services, is something that you can achieve. So we're specific, measurable, achievable. Now the R you're probably thinking of is realistic. That's the one that most people use for the R. I like to use the term related. The reason I do that is to think, how are these goals related to each other? So if your goal to increase your income means, let's say you need to be in your office Monday through Friday till around 7. You said that's when I look at times I can work with clients. That's just the way my business works. Early evening weekdays is when I can increase that income. However, as you're looking at the other goals in your life, imagine you have a family goal of being home by 6 p.m. every night for dinner. You can see the problem here. You have your financial goal says that you need to be in the office at 7. Your family goal says you need to be home by 6. So those goals are not relating well to each other. So from there, you have to figure out what to adjust. Can you adjust your income goal or adjust the way you increase that? Maybe it's not more time. Maybe it's increasing pricing, or maybe it's working a little bit on a Saturday. Or what is it with your family goal? Can you adjust it to be home maybe 3 nights a week instead of 5? The point is, it's important to set goals in more than one area so you're not living an unbalanced life. You also need to look at how these goals relate to each other to see if they work in the bigger picture. So we have S, specific, 124,000. Measure, we're going to measure it by an increase of $2,000 per month. We are setting something that we can achieve. We are challenging ourselves, but there's something that we feel we can accomplish within a year. And then R, related. Is it related to the other goals in your life? And then, of course, time bound. So it's easy to say, the generic, vague response, I want to make more money. And even saying, I want to increase my income to $124,000, it's a start. That's the easy part, though. You're just stating the goal. But how are you going to hold yourself accountable? And that's part of where the time bound comes in. An example I'm giving, I think having that monthly check-in would be a good time bound goal. But instead of just looking what I'm going to do in a month or what I'm going to do in a year, you could also say, I'm going to look at my quarterly goals. So you're checking in monthly, and then maybe you check in every 3 months to make sure you're on track. And then you can really drill down into that. But the point is, again, to be held accountable, which is why you have to set some time-bound goals. So let's go over SMART again. S is specific. You need to put a number on it. Easy to do when it's something like income or weight or X number of times that you want to do something. So have a way that you can quantify your goal. Measurable. Once it's quantified, you can measure it. So have a plan for how you're going to measure your goal. And then A, achievable. Is this something you can reasonably do? Stretch yourself, but don't go so far out there that you become discouraged and then you just totally give up. R, is it related to the other goals in your life? And then finally, T, time bound. What are your time limits? And how do you know when it's time to celebrate? How do you know you're progressing towards your goal? You want to make sure that you have some time bound limits on it. So SMART. Setting those goals will put you on the right track to fulfilling them at the end of your year. Now, there's another part to this. The next one is talking about your strategies and your behaviors. So once they set their goals, and let's say with an income goal, one of the strategies to increase your business, to increase your income, is to network more. Now, again, that's actually the easy part. You say that I'm going to do some more networking. You go about your day, you get busy, you forget about it, you realize you haven't done any networking. So in addition to the strategy of networking, you need to look at specific behaviors. So a specific behavior could be that once a month you're going to attend a business luncheon. You make a date with yourself, you put that on your calendar, you RSVP that it's something that you are committed to attending. It could be that on the third Thursdays, you're going to go to the business after hours networking. So again, you put that on your calendar. I've got to go to a business after hours networking once a month. You may decide that once a week you need to talk to someone, a prospect or maybe a colleague in a similar field, to just talk about maybe opportunities to work together or for referrals. And so you have something there once a week that you go out to coffee with someone to network for business ideas. So you see how that breaks down to your strategies into behaviors or actions. So we have the larger strategy of networking. Our behavior are the business lunches, the occasional after hours event, the coffee with a colleague, and you want to make sure that you put these into your calendar, set a date and a time so these aren't arbitrary ideas. Another good example of a strategy is advertising. I want to increase my income, so I'm going to do more advertising. Again, that's a good start, but that's not enough. Are you going to do a direct mail piece this month? Are you going to run a paid ad campaign? Are you going to sponsor a local team in order to get your business name out there to be able to do some advertising? So we have strategies of networking, we have strategies of advertising, and then you have very specific behaviors or the action steps that you're going to do in order to meet those strategies. And the key when you get into the behaviors and actions, whether you want to use a calendar online, you prefer paper and pen calendar, whatever format you prefer, it doesn't make one better than the other. I strongly encourage you to use one, though, that you are getting these things in writing so you are holding yourself accountable to doing it. So once you set SMART goals, you are on the first part of it is done, and congratulations for if you're doing that in each phase of your life, if your financial, spiritual, family, social, whatever areas you feel that you want to work on this year. However, don't forget to get into those strategies and those behaviors that are actually going to get you to the goals that you want to achieve. So have very specific, clear action steps, and if you follow this, you'll be very pleasantly surprised by the end of the year. So best of luck.